Hello and welcome back to the workshop. As ever, it is fantastic to have you here. I'm very excited for another day of progress here in the shop. I'm very excited as ever to bring you along for it. So, as you remember last night, I finished off some brackets for a pine shelf that I'm going to make to go along the left-hand side of my milling machine. Well, I think the first thing on the agenda is mount all of that to the wall, make sure it's in the right place, and make sure it's going to be good for what I want it for. Thanks for being here. So right now is not today, but it's in fact tomorrow, which means that the first part of this video was filmed yesterday, and right now is the day after. Holy moly, yesterday I was exhausted. Sadly, reality eventually catches up, and you work enough long days, and reality will strike you down and say, nope, you gotta sleep. So I had to sleep. So here I am the next day. And I want to get to the point where this workshop's completely functional so that tomorrow I can be 100% operational, making our first real project. And it's not the bad thing that that's the kind of conclusion that I've come to. Now, what is this going to involve right now? Right now it's going to involve tidying, but first and foremost it's going to involve bolting down my anvil. A lot of you guys have noticed that stuff skirting around the workshop. The reason that it's skirting around the workshop is because it's not bolted. So I'm going to do that now so they don't move, because I'm pretty happy with just about where everything is, and I think I'm ready to commit to their locations so that we can start working. Ugly dokley, so here is the layout that I think I'm gonna stick with. Let me quickly run you through my thoughts for this. So obviously a big consideration that I have to make while I do this is I have a lighting grid above, and those lights are there to light the machines behind us. That naturally means that I have to be careful about what I put right below the lighting grid so that I'm not gonna be hitting any lights or setting fire to them whenever I'm doing any torch work. The tool that creates the biggest risk when we're using it for hitting a light is the striking anvil right here. By the way, we have some more blocks coming in next week, so they'll be up soon. Striking anvil right here. Obviously we use this for hitting things with a sledgehammer, which means that somebody stood right here swinging a sledgehammer high up in the air. I need to make sure that they're not going to be hitting that light. Now, I'm definitely not one of the tallest people in the world, and I don't know of many of the tallest people in the world, so I think where I've got this right now is probably going to be just about okay. This is obviously way up in the air, and it's quite a ways back, and I've decided that where it is now is a good compromise. I can always have a striker stand off to the side slightly if they need to be really out of the way of the lighting grid. Regarding my normal anvil, I very rarely use a striker on this. If I do, they can always stand to this side, which means that then we'll be able to avoid the lights, but this is a good place because I get a beautiful light coming in from up on the other side of the lighting grid, and I feel it makes a very scenic shot when we're facing straight onto that anvil, because the straight on shot gets the flag in the background, the machines, and the forge. As you guys will remember, a lot of working out how this workshop's gonna go is, okay, how's it gonna look good on camera? Because I wanna make some sick YouTube videos. Here is my 8-inch leg vise, and let's just take a moment to appreciate how beautiful this is. It's French, I got it off a friend of mine in France, and I have it set lower down, and I really like that, because whenever I'm doing any forging work and I'm hammering on a vise, it's a lot easier, you know, at the similar height to an anvil to be able to hammer on it, as opposed to a little higher up the way they often come off the old factory line. So I like it low down. It's also much better for angle grinding. Not that I'm doing any angle grinding in here, but of course, as you guys have seen in my other videos, the vise that I have in my grinding room is at a lower height, much like this. That's a nice height for angle grinding with the big angle grinder. It's also a nice height for hacksawing and stuff like this. So I like the lower height. It's gonna be my forging vise, kind of, you know, primarily, and so this is gonna be good to have this right about here. Now, one of the concerns, again, is, okay, I'm gonna be using torches above this vise. I don't wanna be pumping a load of heat right up to one of these god-awfully expensive video lights and melting it, and so that was a big concern of mine. I stood this off to the one side, and I think that we're gonna be just about okay with where it is. If not, then that's my own fault. But this does mean that for my forging vise, it's right by my fire, it's between the anvil and my fire. It's gonna be really easy to get here. So I like this positioning. I think this is a very practical place for it right now. Anvil's right here, vise, forge. This anvil is frankly a monster. It's enormous. I think it's a Peter Wright, it's a double horn anvil. I actually very, very rarely use this. It's probably 600 and something pounds or so, judging by the numbers that are on the side of it. I very rarely use it. I don't like using it too much because it's so wide. I have to lean over quite far to reach the far edges, and I like working my edges. So this will probably end up being one of those horizontal spaces where I complain about things accumulate, like there's a camera battery there, and an elbow, and a drill bit. This is gonna be where I demonstrate just how bad horizontal space. Oh, one thing, guys. I was reading the comments in my last video where I started making the shelf. I cannot believe how silly I was. I made that shelf. I made a horizontal space. What was I thinking? This is how bad it is. It'll trick you. Horizontal spaces will trick you. They'll trick you. They'll make you think that they're not bad, but they are. And they'll even trick you to the extent that then you'll make another horizontal space. This is bad. I don't know if I'm gonna have to rip down the shelf, what I'm gonna have to do. We'll see how it goes if that shelf becomes another devil. Look at that horizontal space. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. The horizontal space. Oh my goodness! It's chaos. There was also another comment that was it was saying, have you considered that it might not be the horizontal spaces that are the problem, but the person that's being unorganized and leaving a mess on the horizontal spaces? I've absolutely not considered that. I have no idea who that would be that would at all be unorganized and leaving a mess on any horizontal surfaces in this workshop. It's usually just me here, and you know, nobody else really messes with stuff, so I don't understand how the mess could get on the horizontal spaces at all. So this anvil is rarely going to get used, and I'm not going to bolt it down because of that. This means that I can always kind of shuffle it out of the way, put another tool here if needs be, maybe have another forge right here if needs be. It just means that this space here, flexible. I'm a little less committed to what's happening in that space, much more interested in bolting down these primary tools. You'll notice that there's a space right here between the striking anvil and the main anvil. What this is going to allow me is to have a little table that I can make on wheels, that I can then have the tools that I need to access for my main anvil right there and then that kind of fills out the space nicely. What it also does when I'm working with the striker obviously is stood right there for the bulk of the time, so that gives him enough space to kind of move around and do his stuff, hopefully without hitting that light. Again, I'm going to be using SDS drill bits and a chemical epoxy. A chemical epoxy that I'll squeeze out. Hopefully I'll get the hardener and the resin come out at the same time. I'm going to be using these and some studding that I couldn't find yesterday. It was right there the whole time and I couldn't find it. You guys have seen me do this obviously several times in the past week or so, but I'm going to drill the hole, clean the hole, blow... Damn it. I'm going to drill the hole, clean the hole, blow out the dust from the hole, put in the epoxy, put in the stud, wipe off the excess, and we're going to be all good. I also have a couple things that I need to do on those power hammers, because that same tube that I was having issues with the other day, where the hardener didn't come out, well, I actually started that tube on these power hammers, and there are 2 bolts, one on each one, where none of the epoxy is set. So I'm going to then throw the rest of the epoxy I have into those holes where it didn't set, because the hardener didn't come out of the tube of epoxy. And we should be all good to tomorrow come in, tighten everything up, and be all good to go on a new project. is the workshop completely done? No, absolutely not. They still need to put flags up on the back wall, still need to tidy up, but when I say done, I mean done and ready to get back to work. Because on tomorrow's episode, we are going to be getting back to work and making things again, which is going to be great. I'm excited. Of course, we're going to make some more Damascus. Of course, we're going to make some more cool projects out of Damascus. And of course, we're going to bring you along for an awesome, awesome ride and get back into the swing of what we usually do here on the channel. Now, I know there are those of you that miss Barker Street Forge's aesthetic, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Barker Street Forge, my old workshop, looked beautiful. You know, it looked like a great rundown, like it just looked wonderfully dilapidated and rustic, and it fitted very much the attitude of the way that my business started, which was kind of get it done with as little as possible, because otherwise it doesn't get done at all. And that's how the extension on my workshop got put on. That's how all the shelves in my workshop got put on, and it's been a wonderful workshop to me. I have nothing but great thanks to that little shed, to allowing my business to be built into what it is now, and facilitating that by being really a fantastic little workshop and perfect for me then. Now I'm extremely pleased to be in this workshop. It's going to be nice, greater productivity, having this extra space, it being a clean space, it being a place that, you know, feels a lot better to stand in. But Barker Street Forge, oh my goodness, thank you, Barker Street Forge. Now we're going to be pulling down the fantastic t-shirts. Look at that, yeah. Woo! Look at that t-shirt. We're pulling that down off the website tonight, so tonight is the last night for you to get yourself one of these fantastic t-shirts right now. We got some great stuff coming in August that I think you guys are going to be very excited about, so I look forward to showing you that. But remember, get yourself some fantastic merchandise at alecsteelshop.com. I'd sincerely appreciate it, and I can't wait to see the photos of you guys wearing your merch. It's like the greatest thing ever. Everything is the greatest thing ever. I know I seem to exaggerate that, but it's just the truth that everything is awesome. It's the greatest thing ever when you guys are sending me the photos of you in your shirts, so keep doing that, guys. Those of you that have bought the t-shirts, thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow on the next episode as we embark on our first project, and goodness, is it going to be exciting, so I will see you then. In the meantime, make sure that you get your fantastic merchandise before it's no longer up, and of course, have a fantastic evening. I will see you tomorrow.